Now,
Hello.
now can I see
Welcome
you?
to Leadership Perspectives with Julie and Natty. I'm Julie Hruska, a high performance strategist, certified high performance coach, and creator and visionary of powerful leaders.
Wow. So I'm Natty Gur. I don't have so much impressive titles like Julie. Let's say that I am a management alchemist, which know how to turn teams from from lead into gold. That's all about me.
Natty, you're being very humble. But, so, welcome. We're here today to talk about leadership perspectives in a time of uncertainty and offer our thoughts on where you should go as an individual leader in your industry or as someone that is working with a group.
Okay, so you want me to start? I start by asking you a question, okay? So
Perfect.
we spoke more than once before, and I know that you have very clear vision for leaders, how they need to behave in terms of uncertainty where you feel that everything is falling apart. So can you share it with us?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for asking, Maddie. It's really important that leaders in a time of uncertainty initially stabilize themselves. They have to get really rooted and grounded in what's happening, and then from there, make decisions of how they're going to stabilize their company, their employees, and then from there, go into their clients. After that, you really have to decide where you need to pivot, what's happening in the market, what's the landscape of your industry right now, and make the necessary changes. From there, it's important to stay connected with your employees, with your clients, keep them engaged, and help them feel like you've got everything under control. That's really, really important.
So do you think that first of all people needs to be connected with themselves before in time of certainty before they are connected with others, or your recommendation is first of all
Right,
deal with that?
absolutely. It's really important that leaders stabilize themselves. What we see a lot of times is that leaders begin to get overwhelmed with the situation. They start to worry about financial repercussions. They start to worry about all of these things. And then in their conversations, they bring that kind of stressed, agitated state, which then has a trickle down effect on their leadership team, on their employees, and that creates a sense of chaos instead of stability. So it's really important that leaders get grounded in their mental and emotional state before they communicate with other people.
How do you recommend them to do that? So it's not so easy when you're responsible of many people. You need to take care of them, of the family. There's so many people not even working for you, like in the ecosystem of a business that depend on the business. What is your recommendation? How they can be more stabilized in a more practical way?
Right. What I like to do with my clients is very simple, coming back to clarity. That I always like to have people step away from everyone else, so find a little time for solitude. I invite my clients to close their eyes, draw awareness to their breath, usually taking about 10 inhalations and exhalations. And from there, on each exhalation, say release, release. And then what that does is it calms down your nervous system, and it infuses your brain with new oxygen, so you have a state of calm and peace. And from there, you have more clarity to make wise decisions.
So let me pivot a little bit, okay? But an interesting question for me. Since I'm doing it, but interesting to hear your opinion. So, would you recommend, even not in time of uncertainty, even in regular time, would you recommend leaders to practice meditation on a daily basis, or it's something that you don't think?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing right now, people are kind of looking around, what do I do differently? But these are high performance habits that leadership, CEOs, high level executives should always be practicing. Taking the time to get calm before making important decisions is huge. It's a powerful method. And it's not like a lot of people think where you have to sit on a meditation pillow with mala beads or with mudra and meditate for 30 minutes, an hour. I understand that people don't have time to do that. So no, it's about closing your eyes and taking 2 minutes away from the chaos to calm yourself so you can think more clearly.
Okay, so I'm pivot a little bit into my word, which the word chaos is a major element there. So when you say chaos, what do you mean?
So that's good, and I want to hear what you think too. I think of chaos as times when things are very uncertain, you're not sure what direction you're headed, and then everyone is coming to you for guidance. And so maybe you're getting extra amounts, an influx of phone calls, emails, text messages. People are hitting you up on all realms of social media, and you're like, whoa, calm, step away, right? Step away from it, ground yourself, think what you want to do, and then consult other people. But also recognize when you're consulting your leadership team, if they're in that state of uncertainty or instability, they're going to add to the chaos. So you have to be the leader, and leaders need to be calm.
Okay.
So yeah, Natty, I'm really intrigued about your definition of chaos
Well,
and how you would handle this with the corporate groups that you coach.
it will be different. Okay. So there is an echo. I don't know why. It will be different though. Definition. And for me, chaos is a state of. It's a state where you actually can't predict how the behavior of a team or of the organization will be, although you know the elements of the teams or all the elements of the organization. When you reach this unpredictability, then it's a state of chaos, and it's not an easy state to be in because most of our management theory and practice are heavily based on strategic direction, which means that everything we need to have some level of predictability. But in chaos, there is zero predictability. You simply can't know what's going to be in the next minute. So I don't think that chaos is pretty unique and not common situation. I think that right now it's more into a level of complexity, of some level of uncertainty. In the beginning, probably everything was chaotic when you hit the corona and you sat in the office and you have to let people go work from home, and probably not everyone practice it correctly, so you don't know what to do and you don't know how to react and you don't know how to deal with your people, all the ecosystem around you. This is chaotic, but over time chaos reduces a little bit and then it gets into more complex situation. It's still unpredictable, but not completely unpredictable. And eventually, so there's a organization going through a circle of state. It will always be order, and then it will go to a growth, and from a growth there will be complexity, and if complexity reach to a level of chaos, then it will drop into entropy. The system will collapse to a level that it all be stabilized and you're back to order, or it won't be stabilized and then you're filing the chapter 11. But chaos is really unique, extreme. Yeah, but it's happened all the time.
So that's what we want to prevent, right?
That's what we want to prevent.
I venture to say that life and business is always uncertain, right? There's always that you never know. You think you know, but control is really an illusion. So it's important that you still have your goal, your end game, no matter what.
True.
Right?
True.
Keep your eye on your ultimate goals. What are your goals for the quarter? What are your goals for the year?
True.
And from there, yes, maybe you're pivoting, you need to adapt. It's like economic Darwinism,
Hmm.
survival of the fittest. You have to adapt to what you need to become.
Yeah, but
But your goals don't change, they're still there.
true,
Your path to get there is just different.
true. But getting there, that's a trick, yeah? So everyone, so you learn over the year, you practice, you learn certain way of behavior, of management practice, okay? Let's call it that way. And for many of us, it's based on the fact that there is some predictability, some. Because every strategic decision, if I'm putting a target, okay, it means that I assume that something will happen in the future and I want to be prepared for that. So, although it's extremely important to have goals and extremely important to pursue the goal when you are into uncertainty and chaos, you probably want to be more, let's call it evolutionary strategy. Okay, you don't want to set strategy and now for 3 months follow it, whatever happen, because probably
Sure.
you will end up with something completely wrong. Okay, so you need to, like evolution, you need to have certain element running in parallel. You need to try different element and you need to see fitness, okay, like Darwinism. You need to find which one of the elements are the best fit for the situation and adapt it. So your strategy will be in place, but it needs to be agile and able to move all the time and adjust to reality. Is the main reason is because reality changes all the time. So we are talking now, and
Right.
we don't know even when the business will go back to normal. And we think that the business will go back to normal, but probably what's going to happen is when Maslow hierarchy of needs, when our personal needs will be okay and we start to be afraid, stop to be afraid, sorry, or concerned or stressed from the corona as something that impact us personally, then we will open our eyes and we'll see what the organization are dealing with, and probably the catastrophe there is going to be 10 times more bigger than what you have now. So it's kind of even illusion to think that in 3 months we will go back to normal. I don't think so. So there will be probably another waves of chaos and another wave of uncertainty. Another recommendation for people is shy away from long-term strategic and try to do it evolutionary. You have your own goal. Like you want the company
Right.
hopefully have a purpose. The company hopefully have a mission. Well,
You're
don't laugh
saying out
because
there in big
yeah,
trouble
well,
already.
but not everyone has it. Okay, or they has it but no one knows it. So it's the same. So if there is a company vision or mission on the building or in the lobby, but when you ask people, when you're getting to the receptionist and you have a nice talk and you ask her what is the mission of the company, and she's looking like to you like you fell from Mars. There is no actually mission or vision. Yeah, it's on the ball, it's on
Right.
paper, it's not in people's head. It's worthless. So it's funny. We can laugh on it, but in reality, there are many, many, many companies that has it, but not necessarily using it.
Absolutely. But that's
Um,
a chance again for leaders to show up, to step up, to bring everyone together and unify around this is our purpose, this is the why that we're doing what we're doing. Here are the goals. And redirecting everyone's sight, not on what's happening in your personal life, but like it's time to be more disciplined. Let's step up, let's step beyond ourselves for the greater good. And from there, here's where we're going. Here's where we're adapting first. And yes, this might change again, but the goal doesn't change. We're here. This is where we want to be at the end of 2020. Yes, there's been some unpredictability, but stay focused.
So
Level up.
let's take this one and discuss it a little bit, okay?
Yeah,
Because I'm not sure that I 100% agree with you. So
that's
if
okay.
okay, that's why we are here, okay? That's what makes it fun. If the goal was, let's say, if the goal of the company was to increase revenue in, I don't know, X%, okay, or to get into, I don't know, Asia Pacific market.
Right.
I think that if now you experience the corona, those goals start to be unrealistic. So having them,
Oh, you just used my least favorite word ever, realistic. If you're realistic, you're probably going to have a
Yeah,
fair.
but there's a paradox here, because if you want to maintain goals that are not attainable, you're realistic, you're not realistic, you're everything. You're not going to do it. You're not going to go anywhere. So
They have to be somewhat realistic, but I still say that people can level up and even grow their business right now.
yeah, it's true,
It's
but
a mindset, right? Do you want to just stabilize? And again, this goes back to economic Darwinism, survival of the fittest. The people that are disciplined and focused right now are actually expanding their market and creating new opportunities, while other people are so concerned with just stabilizing that they're not moving forward at all.
so Toys R Us were very meticulous in their processes and very committed. It didn't help them. I agree that being focused is important, but being focused is how you are getting into target. Now there's like the business concept of it, okay? So if you are very extremely focused to penetrate right now into the Asian Pacific market, probably you are going to fail. It doesn't matter how fit you're going to be. There are business conditions, economic conditions that simply going to prevent you or to take you completely down. Okay, if you are an oil producer, okay, and you still believe that you're going to spend millions of dollars in drilling down and providing a barrel of oil that you need at least $100 to make it profitable, you're committing suicide, and that happened to companies right now. Okay, but it's happening to companies. So being meticulous and being very disciplined is extremely important, but it needs to be, first of all, target to the right business goals. And what I'm trying to say with just this evolutionary strategy is, if my goal was to do that, and now I understand that I can't, I need to be agile enough to say, now I'm going to use everything that I'm doing in the best way that I can do it, which I totally agree with you, this is the way to do it. But instead of doing that, let me find another attainable business goal, or like not even attainable, another more demanding or more expanding or more, I don't know, mind-blowing business goal. But I know that in the current business environment, there is some probability that I'll manage to get part of it or all of it, rather than keep on trying to pursue a goal that I did decide in January without even know that now a barrel of oil will cost $10. Yeah, it's
Right.
like
I mean, it's always wise to reassess your goals. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the conservative mindset of it's fear-based. It's a mindset issue here. It's fear-based to say we just need to stabilize and hold, right? We just need to stabilize
no, that's
and
wrong.
hold on and see what's going to happen before we make decisions. And that's what I'm saying. That's where I see companies right now and leadership right now. Some people, many people, are stabilizing.
True.
And then they're sitting and they're watching what's happening. Meanwhile, the people that are actually being productive right now and moving forward and saying, okay, we've pivoted, here's where we're going now. And yes, whether it's the final goal that's pivoted or just the approach to get there, either way, they're moving forward. So they're not limited, they're not in a fear-based mindset. They're thinking growth mindset, where can we go? Yes, the landscape has changed, but our ultimate goals haven't. So maybe, yes, the 6% moves down to 4% or something like that, but it's still the growth goal.
Yeah. So I totally agree on that. Okay, I think that we are kind of agreeing. We are talking different ways, but we're on the same page. If you will stop doing what you're doing, so let's put it that way. Usually what happens in an organization, that they will be extremely innovative and willing to take challenges when everything is okay.
Right.
And they will turn into extreme risk averse, which is the freeze that you're talking about,
Right.
when something is uncertain. when in reality you want actually the opposite. Okay,
Yes,
in
exactly.
time of uncertainty you want dynamic and you want movement and you want to take risk, because if you'll be stagnant in what you're doing right now, as you said, someone else will do it for you and then you're losing your competitive advantage. Yeah, so
Yes. Exactly. I've talked to a lot of leaders in industries of like real estate right now and finance. And for those people, they're like, hey, we're rocking it out. I talked to the head of a significant organization. I don't have permission to mention his name, so I won't. But he said right now he's crushing it. He has exceeded his goals already for the first 2 quarters because he kept moving when everyone else was looking around like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? He's like, I'm going to take advantage of this situation and I'm going to keep moving forward. And he's seeing the benefits now.
yeah. So also like I think good advice for companies that kind of emerging right now, or they are pretty young.
Yeah.
Every crisis like that creates its own Microsoft or Google's or whatsoever. So if you're adopting Julie recommendation, which are really good, and you are starting to crushing it, even if you're a small company, you
Right.
probably
This is
have the
the time to be
opportunity.
creative
Yeah,
and innovative.
you have the
This is
opportunity to
not the
grow.
time to just hang out and go, brace for it.
But so let's try to help them, because I can tell you that it's easy to say, and
Right.
probably there are few that are doing it, but majority of people are more risk averse and are more conservative and are more waiting to see what's going to happen. And I think if we want to help them, we need to try to find ways how they can get over it. Okay, so you're coming with personal coaching, helping them how to get
Right. So,
yeah.
yeah, what I do is I work one on one with CEOs and high level executives, and we do work on creating habits of high performance and working on the mindset. And then, yes, that's where you come in then and work with the whole organization and help them adopt the changes.
Yeah, so like my message is, you are running right now an organization and a management that are extremely fit to times of um, order and a little bit of uncertainty. But now you are entering an era that it's not going to be the same. And if you want from management perspective, leadership perspective to be prepared, you need to look around and see what other organization or what other element around you are doing in order to not be stuck, like Julie said. And apparently, their ability to not be stuck is because they train their teams. They create a certain management structure that enable people some level of freedom more than or autonomy more than the default one that exists in organization today. And this level of autonomy is enough to spark new ideas in people's head. And if they have the autonomy and the authority to try it, they guess what? They will try it. And when they are
Right,
trying it,
absolutely. It
then
comes from the top down, right? If the leader of an organization is coming to his team, his leadership team, and saying, hey, let's be creative and innovative here. Let's do something out of the ordinary for our business or our company, right? That's when creativity happens. That's like you mentioned, that's when Microsoft, Google, those amazing things can happen in times of uncertainty, but it does come from the leadership. It comes from someone giving everyone else permission to be bold and creative as they move forward.
so when actually when they are giving this permission, they are kind of giving away leadership. Yeah. So when you are empowering
Well, good leaders do. Good leaders are not running a like dominant business where it's,
micromanage.
I am. Good leaders are involving everyone in those decisions, especially their leadership team.
So I'm taking it. There's a gap between us. Okay, so in my world, good organization build actually bottom up, not top down. Okay, and
Right. And I'd love for you to share about that because it's an
so
interesting perspective.
it's I think it's crucial perspective. So if you go and explore, so let's take companies and let's take subdivision, okay? And both of them are organization, okay? One of them is hierarchical, and it's grew all the way top down, and one of them is the opposite. It's bottom up, okay? And it's grew all the way bottom up. And I'm taking in particular those two examples because it's fascinating if you go and find out what is the average age of a city. It will always go up. What is the average age of a company? It's just going. So I think it started like 60 years, almost 100 years ago, 60 years ago, something like that. Now it's around. I think the last number was 10 years. So the average lifespan of a company is 10 years, and that says something, okay? And there are companies, by the way, more than one, that understood it. It doesn't mean that you don't have management, but it means that management gives ability to people or groups within the organization to grow stuff bottom up. I can do a major change in a company in two ways. I can sit with Julie and another 5 people and decide, okay, this is the new way of working, and collect everyone and say, okay, guys, this is the new way of working. You are starting it tomorrow, and you know how it's going to work because probably you saw it. Or I can collect a lot of people or do it in separate groups and ask them, okay, this is the challenge that we have, how we should react to it or respond to it. And then grow the ideas of the change slowly but surely bottom up. And when I'm doing it bottom up, I don't need change management. I don't need to convince people. I have highly motivated people to do it because guess what? It was their decision, not mine. Okay? And the results are completely like it's mind blowing when you see what groups like that can do. But in reality,
I agree with you, but now, like during these times of uncertainty, it's really hard to shift the way things run, and most
true.
companies still run in a very hierarchy type way.
Yes, so they have a challenge. So like I think that if we would do, we didn't do any survey, or we didn't do any site, any like we didn't explore it to level details. So what I'm saying is like high level hypothesis, but I got the feeling that it has some ground. It's based on some ground that the majority of the companies that are moving forward and not waiting, they have more bottom-up approach in the organization, and the ones that are more risk-averse and struggling, or they don't even think that they're struggling, okay? They think that they are protecting their asset right now and waiting for the market to relax, and then everything will go back to normal, and they will go back to where they were, okay? And probably when that won't happen, it will be too late for them to react. So everyone is doing it for a good reason. No, people are not stupid, okay? They're all extremely smart people. Yeah, but
no, I believe people are
brilliant, but everyone sees the reality different, yeah?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I cut you off, so go.
I still believe that in times of uncertainty, we look for a leader. That's kind of how our society is built. So in a company, just like in our nation right now, we are looking for leadership. Who do we look to make our decisions?
So,
right?
yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, and I think that is a very valid way to grow companies organically from the bottom up. But right now, people are looking for leadership, and so the leaders do need to step up. And if they are risk adverse normally, they're probably going to be risk adverse right now. But I'm inviting those people to shake things up a little bit, and instead of staying in that let's just stabilize fear-based mindset to step beyond that into a growth mindset, be more bold, be more creative and innovative, and that's where the possibility can be exceeded, right? Our expectations can be exceeded
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah, but so true, and I agree with you. The only caveat is that since they didn't build teams that can do it,
Right.
even if they want to do it, they can't do it. Okay, because no, because it's not that the CEO of Exxon wake up one day and say, "I'm stopped to be risk averse. Let's find creative way how to make energy." I'm just giving an example. And everyone, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. It won't happen, okay? Because people over the year were trained not to do it. And if someone did something that he's not supposed to do, he was punished, okay? So, driving leaders to make a change is awesome on a personal level, but if it's not coming with an understanding or support how everything around them or everything that they're responsible for or the management practices and system that they put in place are going to be adjusted to do that, it won't like it's a good advice. In practicality, you're one guy and you have like 20,000, 30,000 people that needs to, it's a big ship. You're not shifting it like that. So
Right,
that's what
but
you're saying.
that's almost
So sorry, go.
that's almost assuming their teams are weak. And I'm going to give leaders a benefit of the doubt that they have surrounded themselves with really strong, powerful teams. And so this is not just for one leader, this is more for leadership teams now that we're talking about. But it does come from, in my opinion, the top. If the leader's hanging out waiting for bottom up and he's like, okay, I'm waiting, like, here I am, like, that seems crazy to me. So maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but right now, like taking people where they're at, whether they're bottom up or top down, there is a role that the leader of a company needs to be taking right now. And it is that of bold innovation and creativity, giving leadership team and the people, the other people in their organization, a chance to be more innovative and creative, to think outside the box, to move forward into bigger, bolder possibilities.
Yeah. I'm with you. If you take a team that wasn't get used to do it and you ask him now to do it, I'm doubted that he will do it.
But I hope.
You train them not to do it, yeah. So let's get into like a little bit of governance in organization, okay? So you have a governance body, okay, and you have an audit, and there are best practices, whether they're good or not. Let's not get into it. And someone is auditing your team how they're working, and if you are not following the exact steps that consider to be best practice, you're going to be penalized, okay? So if you take a team that is scrutinized that way for 5-10 years, and now you're telling them, okay, but you need to be creative, it's a clash, yeah. It's like, oh,
Right.
what do you want from me?
Right. And I've been fortunate enough to not work with leaders that are like dictators like that.
No, it's not dictatorship, Julie. It's got nothing to do with dictatorship. It's driven by, if you're a public company, you're being audited by externals, and to be prepared, you're auditing internally, and there are best practices and rules and regulations that you need to follow.
Right.
And it's not coming from that. It's coming from
rules.
Sorry.
I'm not saying break the rules, go crazy. I'm saying within the boundaries that are the best practices of your company or your organization, where now can you pivot on your thinking, your ideas, your creativity, not on the practices of the company, but more on the ingenuity of whatever you're putting out there.
So probably the main message that I'm trying to convey is that it's great to do it, but if you want to do it, you need to think how you are adjusting your management style and the way that you structure people, because those ideas needs to come with support of the way that you're running organization. And you can't just wake up one day and say, I want everyone to be more creative, and there is no support on the organization level to do it, because
Right.
you can do it.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying now and during times of uncertainty, it's an opportunity for leaders to shift their management style.
Yes.
Good. Well, I agree.
I think it's an opportunity all the time, but I think now it's so. My point of view is that the entire world of leadership is like a frog in. So the frog in the hot water. So we are getting into a cold water. Back in the ways of the second industrial revolution, we set up certain management system. It was awesome to those times, and then the world changed in the last 100 years. But the management principles hardly changed. They changed, but hardly. Okay, and over time, the water became hotter and hotter and hotter, and actually we felt more comfortable in the hot water. Then came 2008, and it shook people, but not enough. Okay, they've done some changes. They went back to normal, and I think that now it's like the water are so hot that the frog understands that it needs to jump somehow. Okay, and
Okay, so I think we have our topic for our next conversation, Natty. I think we're going to need to table that and come back to it next week, because it's a very valid conversation of leadership and management styles in organizations.
okay, cool.
So, in summary, what is like something that people can take away that you have to offer today from your perspective?
So there is a science that called complex adaptive system. Don't be afraid, just a science. Okay, my recommendation: go learn it and read about it, because this science is actually explain how organization, including companies, can actually survive and thrive. What are the conditions that organization can survive and thrive in times of uncertainty and complexity? And I think that will be the best advice for me to you. Go read it, go explore it, find out how to implement it within your organization. You're not going to be the first one. There are already people that did it, and they are extremely successful right now, like Judy said, sorry. Sorry. But that's my advice. What will be yours?
Mine would be directly to leaders and leadership teams of now is the time to be creative and innovative. Now that we have stabilized, most companies have stabilized, and you're in that adaptive phase of going back to economic Darwinism, survival of the fittest. The people that adapt and change now are the people that are going to come out of this on the top. And so I invite you to be bold and creative and adopt that growth mindset as you step forward. Remember that you had goals. Those goals don't change. It's just the path that you're getting there. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and listening to our leadership perspectives today. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, Natty.
Thank you. Bye.